the diner, we can just act like a bunch of these old guys where we go to diners.
Yeah, we'll get
cups. Hey, Toots. Yeah. Give me fucking eggs.
Give me a fucking eggs on a plate with some ketchup.
We'll get We'll get the fresh bread, and then we'll get cups of wine, not glasses of wine. Cups of wine. Exactly.
The bread of Christ. Tastes real good with the body of Christ.
The bread of Christ tastes good with the blood of your mother. Anyway,
before we start, I want to say one thing that is a really funny observation. I have way more to say about one 30-minute episode of The Mandalorian than I do about this movie.
Well, because we can't condense one episode of The Mandalorian. It can't be specific to that episode. We always end up talking about Star Wars Episode 9 or Rian Johnson or the prequels. You know what I mean?
I don't know. A lot of the stuff that I said was all. I mean, like if I expanded, it was only because it was.
It was related to the episode, but yeah. All right. Anyway, so we'll do. We're talking about The Irishman. I'm joined again by my two pals. You know,
we're Jimmy. We got Jimmy.
We got Jimmy. We got Tommy. We got Danny. You know, and we're all Irish except me. No, except Tommy.
We're all Italian.
Except Tommy's me. Irish too.
What?
I am. I'm the most Irish though.
Yeah, I'm a quarter Irish.
I'm like
me as well.
90%.
Oh shit. Yeah. But anyway, all right. So
it's a very American thing to do, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Talk about how European you are.
Percentage.
But so this is actually the second time I saw the movie. I picked up. I was excited to actually watch it the second time. I wanted to pick up on some stuff I didn't before. It made more sense. The story was definitely, made a lot more sense to me the second time watching it. But I will admit, it wasn't as enjoyable. Like it was, I wasn't sure how much I enjoyed it.
That must have been a slog the second time through.
I enjoyed it enough. You know, I would never watch it again though. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think I'll ever watch it again. Yeah. I just saw it once.
But yeah, so I just first we'll go around getting first impressions. We'll start with Tom and then Dan.
Big mistake starting with Tom.
Well, first impressions. We'll come back to.
Actually, I don't think I'll talk your ears off this time.
All right.
General vibe.
Yeah. General vibe.
Would never watch it again, not because it's not good, but because of 3.5 hours of my life. That I can only waste 3 hours of my life on video games, not on engrossing artistic media
or hockey.
Yeah. But generally, it was a fine mafia movie that loses a lot of steam in the final act. Once, should I spoiler?
Yeah, we're gonna get right into spoilers. Okay. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, skip to this timestamp,
which is the last second of the video.
Yeah, it should be.
I would say after Hoffa is killed, and there's the immediate aftermath. There's nothing left of interest whatsoever to me.
So you thought your general vibe was it was good and getting better, and then it should have ended earlier.
It crescendoed at the Hoffa scene.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Right.
That's the climax of your movie. But you don't want an hour after your climax.
Mm-hmm.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
Because then people start to fall asleep and they're like, wait, why do I care now?
Was it
the main conflict of the movie is over, but we're doing another hour? I honestly, a powerful way to end it could have been end it with him after he calls Hoffa's wife and he hangs up. That's how it ends.
That'd be interesting.
And then that's a 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie, almost like a normal movie,
like a reasonable length.
All right, so Dan, why don't you go?
I tend to agree with that. I do think there was quite a lot in the beginning and the end that could have been condensed or just removed entirely. This isn't to say I thought it was poorly done. Like, no, I thought it was a well-done movie that could be condensed. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot in the first few... No, I won't even say the first few. The first good hour that could be condensed to about 20 minutes. Where you look at how he meets Russell Bufalino, how the Bufalino family kind of starts working with Frank Sheeran, and how they kind of together make names for themselves in the mob, and then obviously meeting Hoffa after that. You don't meet Hoffa until about a little over an hour in.
I don't remember exactly. Yeah,
it's something like that. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a problem, but like it is an issue when it does start to get repetitive and nothing else factors in from that first hour in the last hour, let's say.
There should have been a side story called Everybody Hates Buffalinos.
Like, case in point, there was a scene when he just started throwing multiple guns in the river, which was the symbolism for all the jobs he's done.
Yeah.
Where they could have done that and just kind of did a bit of a montage.
I mean, isn't that what it was?
It was a montage, yeah, but it was a quick montage where I feel like a lot of these early jobs he did could have just been montaged like that.
Yeah, like you got to show
one. Seen the actual killing.
I think I would have rather have just seen. I think I would have not seen the actual killing. That's fine, but I think a couple more car bombs and arsons, and we would have just gotten the point entirely.
Yeah,
and mostly because there's nothing that turned in, as Tom was talking about. Harvey Keitel. I always mispronounce his last name. Harvey Keitel's last. His character might as well not even be in the movie.
He doesn't have to be
hour.
in the movie.
He doesn't actually have to be.
He doesn't have to be there at all.
It's very arguable as to why he's in this movie to begin with. If you watch it, you'll find out after the first hour. He's not in it at all. I think he's in one more scene.
Yeah.
And even then, it's debatable if he needs to be in the scene.
He doesn't say a word in his third act scene.
Yeah, just like he's there and he points or something.
I feel like a lot of the criticism of the movie is definitely just going to be about that, and they're gesturing in the way he's, just for all of you that aren't here, which is everybody, he's just gesturing how Harvey Keitel is gesturing. I just think, in terms of performances, though, you get some great performances. You get Al Pacino's great. He might have been the strongest.
I personally think Al Pacino was the strongest. Yeah, they're all obviously fantastic. But something about Al Pacino, I really believed that he was sold on his own role. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he was like to him in his head, he was Jimmy Hoffa, and he was like, "This is my fucking union." You know, I couldn't separate him from the role.
He seemed to be the one that, there were a lot of times when I was watching De Niro speak, and even Joe Pesci to an extent speak, who also did fine. Where I didn't feel convinced that they were really the characters. The whole time I was still kind of but that's still Robert De Niro in the back of my head. Al Pacino, I felt like that was Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah.
And I don't even know Jimmy Hoffa.
I don't even know what he looks like. Yeah.
I don't even really know
that
what
might be why, though.
I looked him up halfway through the movie because, as you do when you're watching a 3.5-hour movie at home, you pull out your phone at times. And he doesn't even look like him too much, but it's super convincing. So, he did great. But I guess bottom line, they could have cut out a lot in the beginning and the end, kind of like what Tom said. And the only reason I say that is because it doesn't really tie in to most of what happens in, the second to third act.
Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, I do my thing now. And so
I have a comment that I will say for after
I'm doing my thing, Tom. You're interrupting me during my thing.
Okay, I have a comment about Pacino after you guys are done.
Wait, is it short? If you want to do, it's never short.
It's
so okay,
no.
so all right.
Don't count on it.
Anyway, so my general opinion of the movie was the first time I watched it, I like I said, enjoyed the whole thing. I wasn't sure if I was gonna actually make it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna pause it, maybe come back to it in a little bit, maybe watch it in one or two or three sittings or something like that.
Yeah, we didn't really take any breaks.
No, yeah, and so but I think I don't know this. I'm speculating that maybe. Whoever the Netflix producers were or whatever, we're talking to Scorsese and we're like, you know what, do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. He's earned that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It's just like if you want to make a super long movie, fucking go for it, right? You know, like people are gonna watch it. It's gonna be great. And so that's why I actually was okay because I feel like in a normal movie you would see that condensed crunch in the beginning and end. You know, and the middle is obviously the whole Jimmy Hoffa part, and so. That's why I thought I liked it. I wouldn't say I would prefer it in every movie, but I liked how they at least tried it in this movie, and I got to see a difference in the expanded beginning and end. The end I actually was the most interesting. I wouldn't say it was my favorite part of the movie, but it was definitely the most interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because it really solidified who this guy, who I almost said Ed Sheeran is, who Frank Sheeran is, and because he was just this guy that. He even said, he was talking to the priest at the end of the movie, he's like, I don't feel any remorse for anything that I did. He's like, I only knew one of the guys, he's talking about Jimmy Hoffa, I only knew one of the families, and he's like, and I don't really even feel that much remorse in that case. And so, he probably is just somewhat of a psychopath in the movie.
Didn't he seem remorseful when he's calling the wife, though?
He did, but
I guess that's
he got over
later,
it.
So yeah, he got over it.
You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's why I don't think he is supposed to be a psychopath. I think he... Because, you could have tendencies of a psychopath but not be one.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
I think he honestly, what did it was he got so old and he realized no one cared about him.
His kids
didn't care about him. And I feel like that's the only reason.
You're probably right. It was probably more because he realized now that because he did all that stuff, it's negatively affecting him for the first time.
Because
really.
there was that scene where he's not even talking to the daughter who he knows was cut out of his life. He's talking to the other one that's kind of cut out of his life, and she just says, like, there's nothing you can do.
We were afraid to go to you.
Exactly, yeah.
Snap people's hands.
You know, reasonable.
Yeah.
Reasonable. They established that in one other scene that really might be necessary only to establish that, but, like, even then, it's like you could probably infer that shit went on.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you need the hour where... The last hour feels like it's just, it's just pounding you over the head with, he doesn't feel bad. He doesn't feel bad about the killings. He feels bad about how they affected his family.
Right.
But we kind of, don't we get that? I mean,
I think we get
you don't even need the other daughter, really, honestly, to be that involved. I mean, again, it's not bad because it's another, mark towards him being a bad father, but we get that. Like, early on. I mean, the movie bangs us over the head with it early on, because Joe Pesci's like, you gotta be a good father. And he's like, yeah, I'm a good father. His daughter's terrified of him when she was little.
That's
before
true.
she
The
even
bowling
fully
alley,
understood what was going on.
See, that's the thing. I thought they did a great job of basically picking one of the children and ended up being Peggy, whatever.
Yeah.
Of being like, she's too smart. Or she's not too smart. She's smart enough to realize something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
To
like,
know
he's
that
somehow
Joe Pesci
involved.
is terrifying.
Yeah, right. Because he probably looks like he's super old.
His nose is a penis.
Yeah.
Don't anyone forget it. Joe Pesci's nose is a penis.
That's the other thing that we realized over the course of a 3.5
Yes.
But that's what you grapple on to.
One extra thing I wanted to say, though, was that it's something I think about probably way too much, is that you see... regular
Pesci's
people, you see regular people, and you're like, their nose isn't a penis. And then you see Joe Pesci's nose, and you're like, that's a penis.
That is so much different.
No. So, what I was going to say,
James's nose kind of looks like
a
fat penis.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's a chode. And so, long story short, you see people, you see stories in the news about people having done one crime, and then they get caught for it, right? Whether it's something serious like a murder, something not as serious like stealing, whatever. And they get caught for it. But then there's people like this fucking guy. Like this this cocksucker.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
No, but I'm serious.
It's what it is.
It's what it is.
It's what it is.
But no, but I'm serious. Like, you'll see guys that are that should be convicted of literally dozens of murders.
And they get taken down for blowing up a construction site.
Exactly.
But he killed 38 people.
And so I think that's kind of, I don't know if the movie's trying to say anything about that, but it's like literally Frank Sheeran didn't show any remorse until it negatively, for the first time in his life, negatively affected him. Like, he was doing it because he was getting positively rewarded for all this terrible behavior. Obviously,
yeah, he was.
And so,
I mean, he was president of his own union.
Yeah. He never lives it up. Yeah. It's not like Scarface. He's not got his face in the middle of blow. Yeah. But but yeah, no.
I mean, it is.
He's
enjoying
it, but more subtly.
Yeah.
But probably by providing his family with nice things.
But that does wonder, though. I wonder if it's trying to make a political statement in any way, saying like, you couldn't really have you couldn't have a comfortable living unless you earned extra money somehow. You couldn't just.
Hey,
it's
a gig economy, man.
Well, now
I drive 8 Ubers on the side. I do 2 lifts.
We're talking about the
beat up
60s,
criminals on the third side.
50s and 60s. He was a truck driver, and so it was like maybe. I don't know.
That's the other thing. At the end, though, the daughter does a really good job. I mean, for what it's worth, the family does a really good job of calling him on his shit.
Yeah.
Where the daughter just says, "Protect us from what?" Like,
exactly.
There wasn't any.
Well, I think she's insinuating you were doing some shit.
Yeah, you were the most worst thing. Like, that we needed to be present.
She was trying to lead the witness.
The way I read it.
I mean, get him to say.
She
Listen,
was.
Yeah.
Just
do you think
tell
she had a
us you
tape?
killed.
Do you think she had a wire?
No, not like that.
Think she was a fucking
not
narc?
in a legal way. I'm saying like she just wanted him to just come clean. They knew.
Yeah.
They definitely.
And they definitely and that's, I think, a very it's definitely the most direct way to look at it. I think the other way I looked at it was also, he says somewhere in the beginning of the movie, I was just a normal guy with a normal job for a while. And then he just started kind of getting corrupted by, he steals the meat for the certain guys in the mob.
They do make a point.
They
make a point about how the war more maybe did that to him. But it's still they don't show it.
They don't
show a lot of it. But they do talk about it at length in the beginning of the movie.
They do talk about it.
Not at length, but they bring it up a few times.
And it's a little bit like, the thing is, there wasn't much going that was wrong
Yeah.
In his life, like that you could identify and be like, hey, this is definitely a problem, and if you don't do this, then it's not like it's a story of like he was a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no,
he
just like,
he just said, oh, this sounds good to me.
He basically actively looked for it.
He actively looked for it.
That's a good point.
Where he was like, that's what I'm saying. So like when they said protect us from what, the way I first heard that was there was nothing wrong in the first place.
Yes, yeah.
And you just sought this shit out, and then look what we get to do now.
Do we have time for me to have a rant about something?
Yeah, of course. Always, Tom.
Okay.
I'll just cut it out at the end, so it's fine.
Yeah, sure. Other than the length, and this is where I'm going to hard disagree on something.
Can we make a length joke at any point? Or
No. Except about Joe Pesci's nose.
Hot take. Maybe hot take. I don't know what the reception is to this movie yet, other than people like it generally. Al Pacino is the worst part of this movie.
I disagree.
But
he is doing the stereotype. You know, like there's a I forget what it's called, but you know, on The Simpsons.
Wait. I'm just gonna say one thing.
Okay.
In my defense, I actually haven't seen that many Al Pacino movies.
Okay.
So because it's like kind of like
a part of it.
Are you saying like Will Smith? Like he kind of always plays a similar role.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you're
He
saying.
is playing an exaggerated version of himself. He's not playing a character.
I mean, that's why he's so good at it.
Well, you gotta play. You're supposed to play your character.
For the record, I think Will Smith is fucking awesome. You know why?
Oh, that's hot.
Yes, that's hot. That's hot. That's hot.
He's a great YouTuber like us.
Because he's the best YouTuber. He stole all of Donkey's subscribers. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Okay. I thought Pesci might have been the best, even though he's not given the most to do. He is devoted to the part because his shtick, much like Al Pacino's shtick, is loud, obnoxious guy. He plays exactly that in this movie. Pesci is playing the complete opposite of what he's been doing his whole career, which is angry, loud, Italian New Yorker. I can say that I'm one. And so I feel like he had to go the furthest out of his comfort zone, Pesci. And I think De Niro had the most emotional stuff because Pesci, you could also argue to a certain point, he just needs to like not have any emotions, and that's his character. Yeah. So if you're going by that, then I can understand people saying De Niro is probably the best because he has to go through a wide range of emotions. And yeah, it is in his comfort zone, but it's in all these guys' comfort zones in that area, in that they're all in another mafia movie. It's just some of them are playing a different role within the classic mafia movie. Pesci playing the quiet, reserved guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen any Pesci movie...
My Cousin Vinny.
Goodfellas. Get your fucking shine box. Oh, you mother... And he just...
Yeah.
It's a movie where he will shoot anybody for looking at him wrong.
Yeah.
And that is generally his character in most things. So I thought, like, Pacino, maybe it's because you've seen, like, on SNL, you've seen comedy, impressions of him. This felt like he was doing an impression of himself.
Interesting.
Yep.
And
but I
can understand because he's entertaining.
I wouldn't know.
That's the thing that I can understand. If people liked him in the movie, it's probably because he's still entertaining as hell. Because if he's being himself, he is entertaining. He's an entertaining guy.
Yeah.
So
on that note,
I don't think it breaks the movie. It's
I agree.
Apparently, for some people that have seen more of his movies, it does break the movie.
Interesting.
I saw one take like that.
The one thing that really it breaks the movie, but they did it super well, is the digital de-aging thing. It's like it's
could have been worse.
Honestly,
could have been worse.
It could have been a lot worse, but it's not that they did it poorly. It's that realistically they didn't do it enough. Because it's like you're talking like
I agree.
40 years ago. Because at the end of the movie,
it ended in the 90s.
And
late 90s.
At the end of the movie, not Ed Sheeran, Frank Sheeran.
I'm in love with the shape of you.
Frank Sheeran's supposed to be like at least 80 something, right? You know what I mean? So you're talking like when he's like in his 30s and 40s, he still looks like he's like 65.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like there's a suspension of disbelief. I understood what was going on, so it's like I didn't really care, but it definitely took me out of the movie from the beginning. But it was entertaining.
Joe Pesci, I was about to say Joe Buffalino. That doesn't make any sense. Joe Pesci saying
Joe Penis Nose.
Calling him kid, even though they're
2 years apart in age or something like that.
In the movie, is that all they're supposed to
I don't know, but in real life, they're
really, I know. I think
and also in the movie, it's not a huge.
I think he's supposed to. No, I think it's supposed to be at least like 10 years or so because Joe Pesci didn't serve in the war. I think that was kind of like the thing.
Okay.
You know, but yeah.
Either way.
I guess that's the suspension of disbelief thing. Because in real life, you're like, you guys are like.
Yeah, exactly. And like Al Pacino, I didn't see any difference from him from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie in terms of when he showed up.
Oh, you mean appearance-wise?
Yeah.
I think it's just
the hair,
gray on the sides instead of.
I think you're right.
Phenomenal hair.
Yes,
these guys have aged well, except for Pesci. Pesci looks like shit.
Yeah.
He's
Don't at me, Pesci. Anyway.
Listen, I mean, De Niro's got a full head of hair.
Yeah.
And still looks pretty good.
Actually, Pesci, like if you just look at a picture of him now, like he looks about the same as De Niro, honestly.
Oh really?
Yeah, like they definitely made them all look.
Do you think they could de-age them in real life when they walk around? Can they just carry a green screen behind them?
In front of them, really. Just carry it in front of them.
so just wear a bag over your head.
Yes.
I don't know. I would say. I don't know. How would you like rate it?
If I had to rate this,
Columbus,
I would give it. Oh yeah, we have been rating stuff.
Gotta give Columbus.
Like we characteristically do.
Doing movies though lately.
Yeah,
we're
doing
true.
The Mandalorian.
We were doing all Mandalorian.
I gotta say probably.
Be honest, Dan.
2.5 stars.
Out
of this typical.
Out of 5.
Out of the typical whatever it is.
Yeah, usually it's 5.
What do you mean out of the typical whatever it is?
I guess because
we did out of a million last time.
I like doing it. Oh yeah. Well, that was for Hellfest.
Yeah, I know.
Hellfest.
Yeah, and that's different. That's not a movie.
All right,
that's Hellfest.
I guess 2.5 out of 5. I gotta be honest. Like it was perfectly okay.
We should all have different rating systems just to make fun of rating systems.
No, I would, but we have to have a solid thumbs up, thumbs down. I feel so. It's give it a rating, but give it would you recommend somebody else to watch it?
Side thumb.
You know,
I'm gonna.
No, you can't do that. That's not allowed.
Well, that's a 2.5.
No,
that is a 2.5.
Not allowed.
I can push it to 3.
No. You can have whatever rating you want.
2.5.
Okay.
Say 2.5.
But would you say if somebody came up to you and was like, "Hey, Dan, you watched The Irishman, right? Like, you think I should spend 3.5 hours watching it?"
Yeah, I think you should see it once.
Dan? But I'm also a doctor, and I could also be doing surgery at that time.
No,
but
that's a you problem.
I could be saving the world, but But should I watch The Irishman?
I think you should watch it to see it once and to see what some people consider Scorsese's best movie, as these critics are saying. I don't think there was I think there was a lot in the movie that could have been condensed and or just removed, to be totally honest. And I also don't know how clear it is at times with the dialogue as to what the reasoning and backstory was behind some of what happened to
names
Hoppa.
to juggle.
A lot of names to juggle,
yes.
And things.
That's always
some
the
of the
case
biggest, some of the biggest moments, the lead up to the biggest moments, happen very quickly. Like Hoppa, all of a sudden, is getting arrested and goes to prison. Like, that just happens, and there wasn't clear build up to that. I mean, I had to ask post haste, why is he in prison all of a sudden?
Well, yeah, that's true. I don't think they didn't have a gavel moment where they're like, you're going.
It was kind of they showed the trial.
They showed
and
trial. What they showed pre-trial stuff. And
and then it was just then all right, he was in prison.
Yeah.
I can see that, but
and they showed him going, you fucking idiots.
So I'll say it feels a little bit like a Scorsese circle jerk. We were saying that before.
Should that make that the movie tagline?
Yeah,
a little bit. I mean, just in some of that, where we just said the unnecessary scenes are just there because he's I have these good actors and I have these scenes I think are well written. I'm gonna put them in.
Yeah.
And there's whole scenes that could be taken right out.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is well written. I just wish there was less of it.
Yeah. That's
all right. So Tom, what would be your rating and recommendation then?
If I were to do out of 10, fluctuating between. It's a wide range between 5 and 7.
So 6.
Based on rewatchability. No, but if I were watching for the second time, it would drop to 5.
Okay.
The first time I saw it, I'd probably say it was a 6. Honestly, I'm not that interested in historical movies because I feel I feel like I'm better off reading out of a textbook. Depends on the actual historical thing, but I don't know.
But you can't trust movies though; they're always exaggerated. So it's it's if you actually want to know what's going on, you'd want to look it up. In a book or on the internet.
I'm gonna give it a light 6.
You can't do that. Just
give it a number. What's a light 6?
6.
Well, it's a 6, but leaning more towards 5 than 7.
Okay, so a 5.5.
No, it's a 6.
It's a 6.05.
But if you ask me, all right,
that's
going off the
criteria. Barely a 6.
The criteria they asked for, you asked for Dan. I'm gonna say the same exact thing. See it once, if you have the time.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I do think you could skip it.
And not really miss anything.
If you don't have 3.5 hours,
yeah,
I don't blame you.
Or multiple nights.
You basically have to take out a day. You got to take out a day, and everybody around our age is either working in school,
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's a lot. We planned a day around it, so it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I wasted a day of my life. But I've wasted a lot of days of my life. So
yeah. But this one you feel like you
This
wasted.
one I really feel it.
Yeah.
This is like when I look at my playtime on Fallout 4 and I go, oh no.
Yeah. Oh no. It's not nearly as long as I want it to be.
All right,
Anyway,
James.
James, you go.
So yeah, my recommendation, I would give it a hard, a firm 7.5 actually.
Oh, what's a firm 7.5?
Anyway, I would give it a firm 7.5.
It was definitely the length, right? Or was it the girth?
It was the nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about,
I was at a 7, but then I saw
It's
Joe
nice
Pesci's old nose.
how about
Nice
first
and
time versus second time? 2 different ratings.
Oh, okay. I would give it probably an 8 the first time, and now it dropped down to a 7 the second time. And so that's why,
Do you think it'll drop one every time you sit down?
Yeah. Eventually it's going to be at -10 and whatever. So, the reasoning there is I absolutely enjoyed the entire movie. I didn't mind the length. It could have been shorter, like you guys talked about. I appreciated that that Martin Scorsese tried something. I haven't seen all his movies, to be fair, but I appreciated that I saw a movie that was different in terms of length. The acts were kind of like more, they were pretty obvious, pretty structured well. But I don't know. I just liked how they were drawn out more. I would absolutely recommend it, but I would recommend the way to watch it, to approach it. I was talking to my brother-in-law about this. His original idea for watching it was like, I'm going to watch the first hour of it. Maybe I'll pause and come back to the next day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good idea, because then if you're enjoying it, keep on watching it. And if you're like starting to get like not paying attention as much or whatever, like pause it and come back to it, because anything that's that long.
Or just don't watch after Hoffa guys.
Yeah. No, I personally, again, like, I thought that was a really interesting part, because it realistically,
Why
it's
would you
also
say
like,
something so brave?
because I was
so controversial.
I was watching it and I'm thinking like, fuck, this is what people fucking have to deal with when they're old. You know what I mean? This guy is just a little bit different because he's old and like done a bunch of terrible
39 and a half.
Exactly. It keeps on going up every time I mention. We keep on finding bodies. And so
hey, look at all the guns.
Yeah. And so that's why like I liked the last part, is because it was like, it kind of dealt with some stuff that a lot of movies don't. Like, personally, the Rocky movies, right? Their biggest thing is the workout montage, right? Music montage, workout, where Rocky's working out. And like, I have this personal thing where I obviously enjoy watching Rocky movies and all movies like that. Whenever there's the music montage, though, it literally tricks my brain. And I'm like, yeah, you just need to get inspired once and you can fucking start working out. You can get in shape. You know, you can get the girl. You can get the job. You know what I mean? Like, you can do anything you want if you just get, like, that motivation once.
I'll have what you're having.
That motivation does not
Wait,
stick.
what does that word mean?
What?
Motivation.
It means watching a 3.5-hour movie. And then, anyway, no, you only have to get that motivation once. That's what the movie appears like it's going to be. And then, you know, it's
not if you're working out. You got to do it at least once a day.
That's what I mean. It's putting the illusion in your head that you basically only have to work out once, because that's about the length of the montage. You know, it's a lot shorter than that.
Yeah.
So it's like
all the hard work just gets pushed to the background.
And yeah, basically. And so that's why I appreciate longer movies, in the sense that it doesn't trick you into thinking he just kind of earned that overnight. Mm-hmm. You know, he earned, I'm using air quotes, right, this terrible reputation, unfortunately, of painting houses and stuff. And you kind of see the moral corruption over time, but you see how it's not really affecting him either. Mm-hmm. You know?
Well, I guess...
And so I would recommend it, if you're not a fan of long movies, consider watching it in 3 parts.
Yeah.
And then but I would give it a solid rating. And I mean, as far as like technically how everything goes, the digital de-aging wasn't that noticeable, which is great. But it also wasn't as extreme as it should have been, but you can't blame him for that. It would have been very noticeable in that case. Yeah. So CGI, all digital de-aging, all that stuff was fantastic. Camera work was fantastic, but of course it always is with Scorsese. And so yeah, the only thing, yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
All right. Bring us home, James.
Oh, we're here. Oh, shit. All right, cool. See you guys later.